Good evening from New York. My name is Julie Chang, and I'm the entertainment reporter at WNYW Fox 5 here in New York. But for tonight, I am very honored to be your host for the world premiere of Touch, brought to you by Degree Men. Now, this is a global simulcast, meaning at this very moment, we've got viewers tuning in from Russia, China, Turkey, Italy, Spain. I could just go on. So in other words, I'm going to try not to mess up. But first, we want to give you a sneak peek of Kiefer's global Touch Tour. Take a look.
We're doing the first worldwide release in the history of television. I love coming here. It's amazing. Just a sense of history and the sense of age. I mean, for as exciting as the United States or Canada is because of its youth, England is just fascinating to me just because of its age. Well, right over here, we'll be passing by it is Westminster Abbey. There's the Parliament right there. We'll check out where they keep the horses and where the horse guard comes out of. This trip was something that I wanted to do because I felt so strongly about not only the show and what we're doing, but I really do, I respect Tim Kring's idea about this global connectivity, and that even though we're faced with cultural barriers and linguistic barriers, there is a commonality within the human race, and I think Touch really points to that. We just landed in Berlin, and we're checking into the hotel. Earlier you asked me why I wear a hat when I fly, because I generally sleep when I fly. The hat will always look better no matter how stupid my hair will look like when I get off a plane. Every time I've come here, I make an absolute point of coming to this wall because it represents everything that I dealt with growing up. I mean, from all the times when we were in school, where we would be told to hide under our desks for the air raid drills, everything that represented the Cold War that actually never came to be. This wall represented this unbelievable division between what we perceivably call the Western world and the East. It is a concrete reminder how divided we can become. And one of the reasons why I really was so moved by Tim's script, Touch, was it really was trying to break down all of these walls, whether they're physical or metaphorical. It's a pretty amazing place. We are in beautiful Madrid. It's going to be kind of cool walking around with you and checking some stuff out, so I have to go do some interviews, and then you and I will go walk around later. See ya. We landed in Madrid this morning, and I just want to thank you for coming out. The show is something we're immensely proud of, and we are so excited to be able to share it with you. You're the first audience that is going to see this. We just went through the premiere event here in Madrid. Tonight is different because it's not for journalists, it's actually for fans. So it's actually a very crowded theater, which is really exciting, and I'm learning Spanish as we go.
I heard you got a new guitar last night.
I did. There's some guitar players that inspire you. This guy last night, he just made you want to play. He did it so seemingly effortless. I am touching the door of the oldest restaurant in the world. Last night we had a screening in Madrid. Hundreds and hundreds of people showed up. It was the first kind of moment where I started to feel something was kind of happening with Touch, and I was very excited about it. I've seen this since I was a boy, and for most of my life never thought I would ever even be allowed here, let alone get the opportunity to do it like this. I just never really understood the scope of it. This is massive. This is a place that many Russians come to really reground themselves and feel proud. This man here was the commander who was dispatched to Leningrad and then back to Moscow, and both times to protect this country, and he was a brilliant tactician. That was one of the most unique press events I've ever had in my whole career. We always seem to have more in common with each other than I anticipate. This was really, really cool. The stuff today at Red Square was just fantastic, and as you can see, Red Square behind me. And the one thing that I do walk away from is that we all, we come from very different cultures. And the cultures are something to be celebrated. And the reason why is because there are common bonds that we have that transcend culture, that transcend religion, transcend race. ideology. Those are the bonds that I think Tim Kring is really wanting to focus on. He also does celebrate the differences in all of us. And so you're really getting the best of both worlds. It's been an amazing trip. For those of you who got to watch us kind of take it, I hope you enjoyed some of it too. See ya.
Congratulations on the show.
Very, very much.
The show to me reads like a tapestry, except all the threads are from different parts of the world, seems random. How complex is that to put a story together when it's so many components?
Well, I mean, Tim Kring, who is the writer who wrote Heroes, is just one of the most imaginative people I've ever met. It is unbelievably difficult. And yet he seems to make it seem effortless. The scripts that we've had for this whole season have been fantastic. But no, it is very complicated. But it also is what makes it exciting to watch.
All right, this is where I'm going to embarrass myself. Boop, 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 boop. That's my very poor rendition of the 24. Is it almost like a blessing and a curse? Because people always want action from you from the success of 24. But we're going to get some action in Touch, right?
Well, we do, yeah. I mean, they're very different stories. But my son puts me in circumstances that I'm certainly not prepared to deal with. There are a couple storylines I certainly wish I had the skill set of Jack Bauer, but Martin Baum does not. But yes, there's a great deal of tension and there are moments of action. But at the heart of the story is a drama of a father who is desperately trying to figure out a way to communicate with his son, and that's where the story starts.
Got it. All right, I'm ready to be touched along with the rest of the world. Kiefer, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Joining me now is Tim Kring, creator of shows like Heroes, Crossing Jordan. You may have heard of it. I know the number 318 plays a very important part in the show. Today's date, March 18th.
Yes,
Way to
yes,
coordinate
exactly.
fist pound. What is it behind this number?
Well, I was looking for a number that could be both a time of day, a date, and that could be short and that people could remember. So I don't know that you should read anything more into it than just a number that needed to serve multiple purposes. But I also was hoping that we could have a premiere launch on March 18th. So,
Nicely done.
yeah,
Nicely done. Okay, the show has huge international appeal. And was that always the focus from the beginning? And, you know, clearly you have this background of being fascinated with the supernatural. What is it about sort of this outer world experience?
Well, I like putting supernatural elements into the real world, like grounding the story in a real world environment with people who have real problems and real issues so that it doesn't float too high above. But the thing that I'm most interested in talking about is interconnectivity between people and global consciousness. And the more I tell stories about that, the more that it feeds my own kind of muse. And it's a certain message that I'd like to be able to put out into the world with the storytelling that I do about how we are all more connected than we ever thought we were.
Great. Thank you so much, Tim.
Okay, thank you.
Now with me is one of the main stars of Touch, David Mazouz. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So quickly tell me about your character.
Well, my character, Jake Baum, is a mute, autistic, misdiagnosed as autistic because he is mute, like I said, and he does not speak. But really, he is on a higher level, and he's kind of like a spirit in some ways. And he sees the world's interconnectivity through these numbers. And he sends his dad, Martin Baum, who's played by Kiefer Sutherland, on these journeys to make the world a better place.
Now joining me is Carol Barbies. Hit success shows behind you like Providence, Judging Amy. How is this show so different from anything else that's out there?
This show is a writer's dream. I think it's an audience's dream, but it's definitely a writer's dream. We get to write about different countries, different cultures. We get to write these little short stories about people's lives around the world, and then we get to write an amazing action movie for Kiefer Sutherland.
Why would you say this is an appropriate show pretty much for the entire family?
It's about how we're all connected. It's about how the world has gotten smaller through technology, and it's sort of teaching us that we're all one. And I think that it's a very life-affirming premise. So I think it's appropriate for everybody.
Now the actress with one of my favorite names in the whole world, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, which in Zulu means our pride.
Yes, Gugu
which
too.
Love that because it segues right into your character, Claire, who I think is very proud of what she does. Explain more.
Yep, I play Claire Hopkins. She's a social worker in New York, and she's a tough cookie. What really excited me about her initially is that she's tough and street smart, but she's also very empathetic and caring. And she comes into the story when she takes over as the caseworker for Martin and Jake's case.
How ambitious is this show in the sense of the amount of characters involved and the international angle?
I mean, that's what's so exciting about this show is, it's global scope. Every episode we're in different countries. I mean, my section is just in New York, but every episode we go to India, to Africa, to Australia. So it really has a very ambitious global perspective, which is really exciting. And this global launch, totally unprecedented. It's really wonderful to be part of something that's so unique.
And last question, I know that the world is getting ready for the world premiere, but you have wrapped about 10 episodes.
Yeah.
What's the overarching theme of the series?
You know what? I mean, it was inspired by the red thread of fate, which is this Chinese philosophy that we're all connected in life. Basically, the idea is that when we're born, a red thread is tied around your ankle and around the ankle of every person in your life you're destined to connect with. So really the overarching mythology of the show is interconnectivity. And as I say, that's why it's so wonderful that the whole world can watch it, give or take, within the same week, so we can be connected.
All right, folks, that wraps up our red carpet. I'm Julie Chang, live from New York. Enjoy the show.